Disquiet has gripped the police service as the government started implementing a new policy that saw officers paid house allowances before moving out of their government quarters. In Nairobi, the lowest ranking officer has been paid just over 9,000 shillings, a figure officers say is too low to secure a decent house. Officers are also questioning why the allowances were sliced by nearly half compared to what was promised in September. Gituku kicks off our bulletin with that report.
The new year 2019 will herald new beginning for at least 60,000 police officers who by December the 31st, 2018 must have vacated the free government houses. And to facilitate that, the National Police Service has already paid out the housing allowances for the officers in their December pay. The allowances have been paid according to rank and location. In Nairobi, the lowest ranking officers or constables have received 9,500 shillings for housing allowance, 3,000 shillings for transport allowance, and a further 3,000 shillings for house supplementation, an allowance that has traditionally been paid to cater for electricity, water and other house bills. Police corporals in Nairobi, one rank higher than constables, are receiving 9,600 shillings in housing allowance and 1,000 more in commuter allowance, while the house supplementation allowance stands at 5,000 shillings. Police constables based in the counties of Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, Nyeri and other major towns are receiving a housing allowance of 7,000 shillings. Combined with commuter and supplementation allowance, the facilitative emoluments amount to 13,000 shillings. For constables in all other counties, a housing allowance of 5,500 shillings has been paid. Several police officers now dissatisfied with the benefits as they may prove difficult to find decent housing at those rates, especially in Nairobi. In the capital, 9,000 shillings can at best finance a one-bedroom house in low-income residential areas. That may mean transport challenges for officers who will have to beat the morning traffic should their workstations be far from home. In the initial plan that had been announced in September, police constables in Nairobi were to be paid 18,124 shillings as housing allowance. Their counterparts in the second cluster counties and towns were to be paid over 13,000 shillings, while all others were to be paid 8,824 shillings. But the National Police Service and the Interior Ministry are convinced that the new rates are commensurate to what the officers need.
How much house allowance is enough? In other words, you're actually telling me that if we have police officers who work in Runda police station, we should give them a house allowance of about 500,000 or 400,000 so they can actually live in Runda and so on. We enacted, we have a constitution, a law, and we created an institution called the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Police officers are public servants. We are all governed by that same arrangement when we talk about remuneration and allowances. Even the house allowances we are talking about the police, we couldn't proceed without the clearance of the SRC, as it were. And
the decision to pay house allowances is intended to take away the burden of housing police officers from the government, as well as integrating officers into the community. Gituku, Citizen TV, Nairobi.